hypostomia. And this video I want to share some new items that I got in the mail today that I ordered. They're items that are for my upcoming backpacking trip, because I wanted to upgrade some of my equipment. I've been meaning to for a while. We'll start with the most interesting item here that I'm particularly excited about is this inflatable sleeping pad. That I could show you. I don't know if you can see this picture very well, but it basically has like holes in it, in the places where your body doesn't really need support, so it only really comes across on these parts where the weight of your body is, so like your shoulders, your head obviously, and then across like the pelvic area. That's where a lot of the weight is. So all the other places are just kind of cut out and just have like the minimal amount of like material there. And this is ideal, and it had really good reviews on Amazon. I actually don't know anyone personally who's used this, so I'm kind of like taking a bit of a risk, but I've been meaning to upgrade my sleeping pads, or my sleeping pad, one of my sleeping pads, for my backpacking equipment, because I have one pad that is good. I like it because it has like a heat reflective surface, so it's really nice and warm. It reflects all of your body heat back up at you, which is good because especially when you're sleeping on the ground can take a lot of heat away from your body. So you have to keep yourself warm, not just like covered on top, but also underneath you too. So that pad is good for that. But the other pad I have is just like this cheap foam thing that I got just to give me a little extra padding, but it really doesn't do much. Now the thing that you have to consider for backpacking, there's a balance. There's like three factors I always consider when buying something. I mean, obviously quality, you want it to be something that performs well for whatever it is you're getting, or whatever it is you're making. You want it to perform well, obviously do a good job, keep you dry, keep you comfortable, cook your food or whatever it is that you're getting. So quality obviously is one factor. The other two factors are cost, which is pretty typical for anyone who's considering buying anything really, quality versus cost. particularly important factor for me because I'm poor. So I really have to like make that trade-off sometimes, you know. And really make sure that I'm getting as much bang for my buck. But the third factor for backpacking equipment is weight. And I would also say bulk. But weight really is important to consider because most camping equipment, just like your standard camping equipment, you know, is designed to just kind of be packed up into like a vehicle and then just carried like a minimum distance, you know, like maybe a few yards from where you parked your car to where you're camping. With backpacking, you have to pack everything up on your back and hike, you know, 5, 10, 15 miles. Some people do more. So every little ounce of weight really adds up when you're walking, you're hiking that many miles. So yeah, every ounce that you can shave off matters. So I'm being particularly long-winded about this, but I wanted to explain why I bought this item. It weighs less than a pound. You know, obviously it's boxed up right now. I wouldn't take it like this. But it says it's only 9.7 ounces. And it has a pump. But you don't really need the pump. You can totally blow it up just with your own breath. So that's optional. You know, it's another couple ounces or something. And yeah, obviously with what I was explaining about how like these pieces are, it's using like minimal material. It's only utilizing the material in the places where it's really needed. So it cuts down on the weight in that way too, in the design. So let me just read about this product. So it's made by Clement, as you can see here, Clement. It's called the Inertia X Frame. And apparently it packs down to about the size of a soda can. So yeah, that's also the bulk aspect, because something might be really lightweight, but it might be really bulky and hard to like pack up, you know. So you want things to be lightweight, but also try and not be bulky too. Okay, so it says body mapping. The pad was designed to comfortably support all the places your body touches a sleeping surface. The remaining areas are removed to minimize weight, allow for breathability, and to enhance warmth. And then it says here, custom pressurization. Clement's high pressure comfort system uses a dry air pump to provide extra pressure after the pad is fully mouth inflated. You can now customize the pad's feel with a few quick squeezes. Whether soft or stiff, you can now easily choose what is best for you. And then here it describes the loft pocket technology. Whether inside or below your sleeping bag, the loft pockets allow the insulation of your bag to retain loft beneath you. This technology allows the pad to be warmer and more breathable. Simply put, your pad is rated to the same temperature as the bag that you are using. The bag that I use has a down fill, so that having it be fluffy, where it traps all that air, is critical for the down to be able to do its job. If it's all matted down flat, pressed down flat, then it won't really keep you that warm. It needs to be able to be fluffy and, retain air. So I think that these little, cutouts in the mat, as it explained here, help create little fluff buckets, or what they call a loft. I call it fluff. So that, you can stay warmer. Okay, I'm excited. I want to open this up. Yeah, go on this side. Here is just some more kind of information about it and some instructions. And then here is my bag. So it looks like it packs down to definitely bigger than a soda can. I mean, I'd say slightly. But still, it's really small and it's super lightweight. I mean, basically, the pad that this is going to be replacing is a big, roll that's like this wide, and then it rolls up to like, about that big around, and it's like that long, so it's not heavy, but it is bulky, right? Like I was telling you, and it's so bulky that I have to like basically strap it to the outside of my pack, and it gets the job done. Like I can make it work, but it's just kind of a pain. So yeah, I knew that was the first thing I wanted to upgrade. Plus it wasn't really giving me that much cushion, like I said. So let's see. Obviously it comes with its own stuff sack. Some extra, look at that, it has some patch stuff here, so some patches and some patch glue. Definitely want to keep that there. So, let's see if I can pull this out. Where's that? Okay, I'll just pull the whole thing out. is my sleeping pad. This is probably too big to completely open up and roll out. So here's a little hand pump that they were talking about. Yeah. So that's like not even 2 ounces. Like that's, yeah. Might as well take that with you, right? Okay, so here's some pretty basic instructions. Cap comes on valve, remove cap, attach pump, save cap for dirt and leak protection when pump is not in use. Let's just give the little pump a try. I'm not going to inflate it all the way right now, obviously, but just make sure. What is this? Maybe that's like the release valve? I don't know. I'll have to read more instructions. Okay, try and pull this cap off. There we go. It's just like a little rubber tip thing. Okay. I just jam that on there. Does it really fit on there? Oh, okay, yeah. It just kind of stretches over. Okay. So the pump works pretty easy to use. This cap, I'll have to be careful. It'd be really easy to lose this. Yeah, so I have to say it's surprisingly soft. And I guess that makes sense because, like in that picture, it showed that you can use it under your sleeping bag, or you can actually put it inside your sleeping bag. So having this kind of satiny covering on it, obviously would feel nicer to sleep on than like just straight up plastic or something that would get sticky. Yeah, so cool. I'm really excited to at some point blow this up. And how do I pull to open? Oh, did I open it? Push to lock. Push to lock. Pull to open. Okay. I'll have to read the instructions on that one. I'll figure it out later. So the other items that I have here are not like, particularly fancy, but just stuff that I needed that I wanted to upgrade. So I just got a couple of, or a few, of these aluminum tent stakes, that, right now, what I've been using is, just these, like, plastic, cheap plastic tent stakes that just kind of came with this old tent set that I got from, like, my family that, you know, they bought, like, years ago. And, you know, it does the job, but I wanted to upgrade it because the last trip I went on, which was like in May, we did Skyline to Sea, and it like rained for like the first day and a half that we were there, and because it rained, like the dirt, the soil kind of like swole, kind of like yeah, it became like swollen. I don't know if that's like the technical term, but the plastic stakes that I have are like bulkier. These are very slender, but the plastic ones are like, they're just bigger and bulkier, so they're harder to drive into the ground. And then as I found, because the dirt was so wet and sticky that I had a hell of a time trying to pull it out of the dirt. I think I literally spent like 10 minutes trying to pull this one stake out of the dirt. And the tent that I use, I actually made it, but the tent like needs to have the stakes in the ground or it won't stand up. I kind of designed it that way. So when I couldn't get this stake out of the ground, I was like worried, you know, because if I only had enough stakes for that tent, and if I lost one, then I wouldn't be able to erect my tent for the next night, you know. And it was like a three night backpacking trip. Yeah. So anyway, long story long, I finally did get the stake out, but I made a mental note: buy new stakes, buy the aluminum, you know, slender stakes that some of my co-backpackers were using. So hopefully these ones will perform better. So this is like a set of 4. Oh yeah, they're extremely lightweight. And they're a lot more slender. A lot less bulky than the ones I've been using. So I think these should work just fine. Yeah, pretty sturdy. Pretty basic. These little ties should make it a lot easier to pull out rather than trying to like grab it, you know, like and just trying to like muscle it out of the ground. Like this might help a little bit with pulling it out if it is stuck. Yeah, cool. I think this will definitely make my camping experience that much easier. Or my backpacking experience that much easier. Yeah, so, you know what, let me, I wanted to show you guys, because I said that I made my tent. So I wanted to show you exactly what I made and what I'm talking about when I say that my tent needs to have its stakes in order to stand up. So here's a picture of the tent that I made. And like the inside, in the middle, it has just like 2 poles that come up and support it. I'm not sure how well you can actually see this picture on here, but let's go like that. Okay, you can actually see it pretty good. So, yeah, like I was saying, like the poles in the center are what prop it up and keep it open. But it has to have one stake on each side of the tent to pull, and you pull it taut and stake it in on each side, and it keeps it open and propped up. Yeah, so like that's like the back side of my tent. And that's the front. This is the opening. And I wanted to just show you really quick. This is the stuff that my tent is actually made of. It's called Tyvek, and it's actually a highly water resistant, like basically waterproof type of paper that is used in construction, actually. Yeah, so this is just a piece of Tyvek that's left over from something else I was trying to make with that. But yeah, it I know it's all crinkled, it looks like shit, but it gets the job done, right? And it crinkles, and you could it's actually really sturdy. And even after you've crinkled it and crumpled it, and it's gotten muddy and rained on, and you stuff it in your bag and you take it out, and you stuff it in your bag again and you take it out the next day. It's like this stuff can take a beating, and it still has it stood up really well. Like I said, on our last trip, it was raining, and I really had to it was getting to see my design kind of stand up to the test of crappy weather, and it did. It totally did. It kept me dry, and so I got this idea from online forums. Basically, tents are expensive. So it's like that whole, the 3 factors thing. So it's really lightweight, so that's a plus. It's really cheap. That's definitely a plus for me. And it does the job well, so I would definitely recommend Tyvek as, a tent material for anyone who wants to try to make their own tent, or shelter, outdoor shelter. The only drawback of Tyvek is this. Now I know that crinkles are good for ASMR videos, but they're not so good when you just want to sleep after a long day of backpacking. So the only drawback is, you have to make sure that your tent is big enough for you, because if you move around in your sleep and you kind of shift the tent around, it kind of makes these loud crackles and crinkles sounds. One of my fellow backpackers, she always makes fun of me. She says, "Oh, you brought the potato chip bag to sleep in again, did you?" Because it can be quite noisy. But yeah, no, she plays. So yeah, I have 4 steaks here. I only need 2 steaks to prop my tent up, but I'm planning to kind of build like a little vestibule extension on the outside of the tent so that I can just have a place to kind of like set my shoes or my backpack. And it will just have like a little bit of a cover to keep it dry. It's not like, so they're not inside my tent, but they're outside my tent. But they'll have just like a short little cover to keep them dry if it's like, you know, pouring or something outside. So I'll need like a 3rd steak for that. And then, I don't know, just have a 4th one, just as a backup maybe. I don't know, they're super lightweight, like they weigh nothing. Like honestly, like, the package weighs more than just 1 steak. There's no weight on here. I like the red color too. And then the last item that I ordered is, you know, nothing too fancy, just, you know, a nice cheap plastic poncho. Just basically like an emergency poncho that is enough to just kind of go over me and go over my pack, just to minimize the amount of like moisture that gets, you know, on my bag and on me. If it's like raining or something, because staying dry is really important when you're backpacking, because if your clothes are wet, you know, you won't be able to warm up, and you can succumb to hypothermia pretty easily that way if your clothes are wet. So yeah, staying dry is really, really important. So I just got this cheap one had a poncho, probably even cheaper than this one, that was on its last leg during my last trip when it actually did rain for like a day and a half, like I said. But I'm glad that I at least had that, even though it was like kind of ripped in some places and like, you know, not in very good condition. It was still good that I had it, because without it I probably would have gotten pretty wet. Okay, let's see. I'm looking for like a place where there's an opening, but it doesn't look like there's one. I'm gonna have to just rip it open. Use one of my stakes. There we go. Okay, that's enough of the crinkly stuff. So I didn't really pick this particular poncho for like any special reason. I just except that it was cheap. So cheap, lightweight, basic, enough to get the job done, you know. I didn't feel like I really needed anything too fancy. But it's nice that it comes with its own little bag, because the last one I had was, it didn't have a bag, so it was like, you know, I would fold it up and I wasn't sure, like, it was like trying to fold up a map again after you open a map, you know. It's like just unruly, and like I usually just ball it up and just like stuff in the bottom of my bag or whatever, my backpack, because like I was just trying to get packed up and move on, you know. Yeah. So this is just one size fits most. Full cut for maximum coverage. Lightweight. Pullover design with side snaps. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's pretty much the same thing I had before, except it has a bag, obviously. Protective plastic. Well, that was definitely a tight fit. I don't know if I'm gonna have much luck trying to get that back in there. Let's see how. Yeah. Yep, it's pretty much just exactly like what I had before. It's just this very like thin, you know, cheap, kind of just plasticky stuff. I mean, they have ponchos that you can get. They're like big fancy, like, you know, so ponchos and like, you know, have all kinds of like fancy designs and knickknacks and stuff for convenience. You know, pull strings and pockets and shit. But yeah, I figured, you know, whatever. It doesn't rain too often, and, you know, I don't really need to spend extra money on something that I'm probably not going to use that often, and I really only need for, you know, just the minimum, like, just to keep me dry. So, yeah. So that's my new poncho. It's blue. My last one was red. Let's see if I can actually get it back in this thing. I don't know if I can. Yeah, you know, I'm not even gonna bother. Because that's not gonna work. I could probably just find an extra stuff sack lying around somewhere to use, or just try my best to fold it up like this. Yeah, this is like yeah, the poncho weighs more than the Tyvek. This is probably, I mean, about the same amount of material, but this is like way heavier. But I would not want to make a Tyvek poncho. Oh my god. People in wildlife could like hear me coming for like miles away if I had a Tyvek poncho. I feel like the noisiest, most obnoxious thing like walking through the wilderness. So, no, I'll pass. This is fine. Yeah, so there's my poncho. My stakes. And my new inflatable sleeping pad. Okay. Well, that's it for my backpacking haul. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.